Wow, we are crab walking! At Supercar Blondie, we've really had access to some of the coolest concept cars of all time.
Look at this beauty!
So today, we're gonna revisit some of our favorites, explore the history of the concept car, and discover some vehicles that unless we had a time machine, even we weren't able to review. Concept cars normally have a few things in common. They're very radical in design with unique or expensive materials or have special features not found in most cars.
This is where all of the little water vapor is collected and then it shoots through the back here. So you have absolutely zero emissions. This is only water, which is just crazy.
They're also meant to reflect changing times around us, and no concept car achieved this as much as the first ever concept car, the Buick Y Job. And as the 1930s was a time in the US of economic decline, this car was meant to be something aspirational and joyful in a world on the brink of a crisis. Designed in the late 1930s by the famous General Motors designer Harley Earl, the Buick Y Job was built on a 1937 Buick chassis, and it had features like hidden headlights, flush door handles, and a convertible top concealed by a metal deck. And it even had electrically operated windows. In 1939, the press reported the Y Job was more than a concept car. It was the car of the future. And despite the Buick Y Job never making it into production, its influence was felt far into the automotive world. Another car that has definitely reached iconic status is the Lincoln Futura, aka the Batmobile. In Dearborn, the home of the Ford Motor Company, management encouraged all design departments to put their most bold ideas on paper and create awesome concepts. And the most striking of all designs was the Lincoln Mercury's designers. A team led by Bill Schmidt, who designed a car based on his encounter with, get this, a shark. Given the apt name the Futura because of its sleek lines and very futuristic look, this car even had the sea in its paintwork, as fish scales were added to the paint to ensure the car's pearly white finish. And despite the car costing $250,000 to develop, a huge sum for the 1950s, it was worth every dollar because the press and the public were in awe of this vehicle. So they got a bunch of free marketing. It even had its first, and not last, acting debut in the 1959 movie It Started With a Kiss.
Oh, it's a gasser.
Where the car was literally part of the main plot. But the Futura's most famous acting role is definitely the Batmobile. Custom car designer George Barris allegedly bought the car for $1 in the hope of transforming it into a custom car. But in 1965, after he was approached by the film producer William Dozier to create an iconic Batmobile, he started working straight away on developing the Futura, and he transformed it from a shark to a bat. And it became an instant hit. And although there were many more Batmobiles, none have been more memorable than this Futura-based model. Now in the 1950s and 60s, the space race really influenced the design of futuristic concept cars, and none were more groundbreaking than the Firebirds made by General Motors. First up was the Firebird 1, basically a jet plane on wheels and the first gas turbine car tested in the US. It had a domed roof, single-seat cockpit, and a fiberglass body. With its turbo engine and super hot exhaust, it was ahead of its time. Then came the Firebird 2 in 1956, a more practical, family-friendly four-seater with a cool design and a body made of titanium. Next was the Firebird 3, packed with space-age features like air brakes, ultrasonic door sensors, and a joystick for steering. It felt like flying a plane. Finally, the Firebird 4 debuted in the 1964 New York World's Fair, and it was designed for a future where cars drive themselves with programmed controls. Even though it was labeled a turbine car, it wasn't functional. As you can see, these concept cars really pushed design to its limits, all whilst imagining a never-seen-before ride. And it was actually the Firebird 3, the world's most advanced and exotic car at the time, that inspired the legendary Ford Giron. Designed by the innovative Tremulous, this concept was all about pushing aerodynamics to the limit and aimed to revolutionize car design. The Giron featured a front wheel that steered with a dial and an electric motor that could push it up to 5 miles an hour, and because a large enough gyroscope was too expensive, they added stabilizing wheels that could retract at higher speeds. Debuting in 1961, the Giron was one of Tremulous's last projects at Ford. Unfortunately, it was lost in the fire that destroyed Ford's Rotunda, but Tremulous continued to explore the concept even after leaving Ford. Next was the Firebird 5, basically a jet plane on wheels and the first gas turbine car tested in the US. It had a domed roof, single-seat cockpit, and a fiberglass body. With its turbo engine and super hot exhaust, it was ahead of its time. Then came the Firebird 2 in 1956, a more practical, family-friendly four-seater with a cool design and a body made of titanium. Another car that looked like it had come straight from the future was the GMX Stiletto, a concept car that didn't touch the ground. Floating on brackets, it showcased bold, innovative design without the constraints of safety and production norms. The Stiletto was a stationary exhibit packed with cutting-edge tech for its time, like climate control, ultrasonic sensors, a rear-view camera, and water-repellent glass. Instead of a traditional steering wheel, it had a small aircraft-like control that adjusted steering based on speed. Other features included a maintenance alert system with a female voice and a communication setup with microphones and speakers. Marketed as the sports car of the coming decade, the Stiletto still remains a striking example of visionary design even today. Fast forward to today, where autonomous cars are set to become the norm. Concept cars are getting more and more experimental, and the design and engineering are being pushed to the absolute limits. Some cars are still inspired by space, like the Hyperion XP1 with NASA technology, one of the most epic cars ever made. And while everyone's focused on electric cars, it really seems like hydrogen cars might be the real future that will eventually replace electric cars. Its hydrogen propulsion system means that it literally spits water from its exhaust.
Look at this, guys. How epic is this?
And where you traditionally have an engine is where all the water vapor is collected. So this car really has zero emissions, which is why it's so futuristic. Oh, and by the way, it has 2,000 horsepower. And even when the car starts up, it's like an actual spaceship. So honestly, this is an unforgettable concept car.
Wow.
Another groundbreaking vehicle is, of course, the BMW Vision Next 100. BMW's futuristic take on the next 100 years.
This is called a live geometry. So what happens is when he turns the wheel, obviously because this is all enclosed, there needs to be some room here for the wheel to actually turn. So as it turns, this expands and contracts. See that? See, and then this side is now turning this side. That is one of the coolest features on this car.
And this car has level 4 autonomy, which means that it can drive itself with zero outside help. We can't forget about the car's high-tech dashboard.
We can actually make this steering wheel completely disappear if you want it in autonomous mode. That's it. It's gone. All you see is this little bit of the handle here.
And reptile-like skin that alerts you to obstacles. Super cool.
That's like reptile skin, isn't it? When you're in driving mode, all of these lights go red. And you see here at the front, that little diamond here also goes red. Now, why do I point that out? Because if you're in autonomous mode, let's just flip that over again. See, this diamond comes out here, and this light here on the front actually starts to flick, because if you're a pedestrian, right, or if you're another car on the road, you want to know when a car next to you is driving in autonomous mode and a person is not in control of the car. So they've done that for safety reasons, so everyone can be a little bit more cautious around these cars, because let's be honest, this is all still quite new technology over the last few years, and we are going to be seeing fully autonomous cars driving on the roads in, a matter of years.
Another concept car, arguably the beginning of BMW's journey of making cars that seem alive, like the BMW iX Flow, iVision D, and the BMW Vision Next 100, is the BMW Gina. The Gina is almost entirely covered in elastic skin and has a bonnet that splits open to reveal its V8.
Isn't that crazy? All right, stand back. You ready for this? Watch this. Secret headlights. That is awesome. What's also cool about the front is that you can literally change the entire character of it. Ready? Want to change the body shape? Look at that. That is crazy. So basically what's going on, because a normal car doesn't do that, basically what's happening is that this car is wrapped in a kind of elastic fabric. You see that? I can literally poke it, bounces back, and there's a hidden button somewhere around here. Gotta find it. There it is. Ready for this? A sneak peek at the skeleton. This is both awesome and kind of creepy. It's like peeling back your skin if you're like I don't know, like a robot or something. This looks like an exoskeleton, right? You can see all the little mechanics going on the inside. Apart from the obvious is that for the first time ever, you have a wobbling logo. It's so funny to have a BMW logo that wobbles.
The BMW Gina is really a testament to BMW's constant commitment to pushing the boundaries of car design and technology. This is unlike any other car we've ever seen. Also creating some revolutionary concept cars we can't forget about is of course Audi and their AI Trail, made specifically for off-roading.
Now, look at this. I quite like this. Hammocks as chairs. I've never seen that before. That is super cool. Look. And this is really, really comfy.
In the back, the design is fully open with super cool off-road tires. Your phone slots into the dashboard and becomes the control center, so no buttons, no levers, just a wheel, pedals, and your smartphone.
You'll never guess what's on the roof. You have drones on the roof. Here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And they actually act as spotlights. Instead of having spotlights on the front of the car, the drones will lift off, fly in front of the car, and light the way. Once you're on the trail, say you're going hiking in the forest, park the car, the drones will then actually follow you as you walk through the forest, then lead you back to the car so that you always have light.
The AI Trail from Audi is a glimpse into the future of off-roading, and we can't wait to see how it develops. Audi makes some incredible concept cars, by the way, like the Grand Sphere.
Now watch this. I'm actually moving the dial with my hand. That is magic.
The Sky Sphere.
Gear lever comes out. Steering wheel comes towards you. The screen even moves towards you.
Wow. And my favorite, the Active Sphere. By the way, we filmed that video on the main Supercar Blondie channel. Go and have a look if you haven't already. Very cool car.
The future is now.
The next car, Alex tried to track it down for 2 years. Check out this amazing Reynold Treaser concept car.
How amazing is this car?
This car tells a story of love and combines masculine hexagonal shapes with feminine sleek designs.
Take a look at this honeycomb kind of texture here on the top. Look how that opens up. That's mad. I've never seen that before. How beautiful does it look? It's not just for design, it's actually for function. This is actually designed as an air intake. So what it does is it throws air through the batteries here in the front. So there are batteries here in the front and then batteries in the back. This, when we open the top again, I'll show you, but this hexagonal kind of honeycomb effect runs through the whole car. It's here on the front. It's also on the tires, which I'll show you in just a sec. And then take a look at this. This is a carbon fiber body that has the honeycomb shape all the way through. That is incredibly beautiful. I've never seen that before.
It's been out since 2016 and has won numerous awards. And it's road legal. Unfortunately, such intricate designs aren't practical for daily use, but we were glad that we even got to witness the car in all its glory. Next up is of course the Lamborghini Vision GT.
Oh, what? Oh my god, you guys. Oh my god. We gotta get this thing off the truck so you can see what I see.
Or the V12 Vision Gran Turismo. And in my opinion, it's one of the coolest car designs of all time. Of course, there's only one in the world, hidden deep inside one of Lamborghini's factories in Italy. Panini spaghetti.
Okay, alright, come on in.
And they had to be super careful when they were moving the car for us. Now, as this car was made for Gran Turismo's Ultimate Championship in 2019, there's only one seat. They literally turned a video game to real life. Unfortunately, the car doesn't open, but the design itself is just something out of the future. It looks amazing. I wish that they made this for real.
And this actually opens like a jet fighter. So the whole canopy opens, which is super cool.
So this makes this virtual race car one of the most stunning and aggressive rides Lamborghini has ever developed.
This is so freaking insane, isn't it? You can see all the way through.
Another car that needs a mention, of course, is the electric Rolls-Royce 103EX. It's the 103rd experimental car from Rolls-Royce with no fixed price tag. Alex reviewed this car back in 2019, where Rolls-Royce was kind enough to bring this car just for us.
So instead of, in the future, having to dive into the trunk and pull out the luggage, it's delivered to you on the side of the car at hand height. Easy. Unless you're, 7 foot tall.
And we couldn't wait to check out some of its mind-blowing futuristic features. But of course, with Rolls-Royce, there was more.
And a lounge chair, a silk lounge chair is revealed. And this is the cool thing, you guys. Look, you stand up, you can be fully standing getting into the car, getting in and out. Because of course you don't want to duck, right? Like that's just uncomfortable ducking into a car. So they thought, well, let's just make the car open high enough so that you can just get in standing. And then sit down on the silk couch. This is silk, and then this is hand woven wool carpet, so thick and soft. And then this wood here is Macassar wood. This is a dark wood, and look how the wood is just completely straight, these lines. So to get massive wooden panels like that is really hard to do in this wool, so that's really special.
This car had no steering wheel, as it's fully autonomous, coming with its own AI chauffeur. So with all these features, you can really understand why we think this car is just epic. I mean, just look at this car. It doesn't even look like something you'd see in 20 or 30 years. This looks like a literal Rolls-Royce that you'd see in 100 years' time. Now finally, a crowd favorite, if we're talking about the coolest concept cars, we can't make this video without the Mercedes Vision AVTR. This has probably been the most watched car in all of our channel, generating almost 1 billion views across all our social media platforms. It first made its debut at CES 2020, and it was done in collaboration with the movie Avatar. The design of this car is totally inspired by the nature of Pandora, the planet from Avatar. This is my favorite part of the car. What you have are 33 scales. Mercedes calls these bionic flaps, and what they do is they move. Look at that. So now they've all turned red. When you brake, it turns red and they all move like this. But then when you accelerate, they all press forward and turn blue. Actually, even when you're driving, these things will turn with you in different directions. And it makes such a satisfying sound. Oh my God. Now, get this. When you put your hand on the center console, the car literally pulses to life. The speakers play a heartbeat sound, the seats vibrate and sync, and the lights around the cabin start to fluctuate. There's no steering wheel, and this isn't autonomous. The steering, direction, reverse is all done through that centerpiece in the middle, which you move around kind of like an analog stick. And we're off! Wow! We've never seen that before, and it's a car that feels extremely futuristic, not just on the outside, but also on the inside. We are crab walking! And now, as we head even further into the 21st century, expect concept cars to become even more exotic and more radical. We just can't wait to showcase all of them. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Which one was your favorite?